There is something deeply wrong with the human face in the 21st century. Walk into any high school in America, and you will see a generation defined by a specific silent epidemic. It's not just the acne or the posture, it's the structure of the skull itself. You see recessed chins that melt into the neck. You see narrow, pinched faces. You see mouths that hang slightly open, and dental arches so crowded that teeth are growing over one another like tombstones in a neglected graveyard. We are told this is normal. We are told that wisdom teeth extractions are a rite of passage, that braces are an inevitable part of puberty, and that our jaws are simply too small for our teeth because of evolution. But here is what your orthodontist won't tell you. Evolution does not make mistakes this consistently. In 1939, a researcher named Dr. Weston A. Price traveled to the most remote corners of the globe, from the Outer Hebrides of Scotland to the deep Amazon rainforest. He was looking for people who had never touched modern industrial food. What he found contradicts everything modern dentistry accepts as fact. He examined thousands of skulls and living subjects from traditional cultures. These people had no toothbrushes, no fluoride, no braces, and no oral surgeons. Yet, when they smiled, they revealed broad, perfect dental arches. Their teeth were straight as piano keys. Their wisdom teeth, all four of them, fit perfectly into their jaws. They didn't have crooked teeth genes. They had functional faces. Now, compare that to a modern archaeological dig in London. When researchers dig up skeletons from the industrial era, post-1750, they find a sudden, catastrophic collapse in facial structure. The jaws are smaller, the palates are high and narrow, the teeth are a chaotic mess. But if they dig deeper, to skeletons from 1300 AD or earlier, the straight teeth return. The strong, square jawlines return. How is this possible? How did the human genome apparently break in just 300 years? It didn't. We didn't evolve into weak jaws. We atrophied into them. Today you take a child with crowded teeth, and the standard medical solution is subtraction. There isn't enough room, the doctor says. So, they pull healthy teeth out. They extract premolars. They surgically remove wisdom teeth that are impacted because the jaw never grew large enough to house them. Then, they use metal wires to force the remaining teeth backward into a retracted arch. They treat the symptom, the crooked teeth, by structurally compromising the face. They make the mouth smaller to fit the problem, rather than fixing the environment that failed to make the mouth big enough. Before we continue, I want to hear from you. Have you had your wisdom teeth removed? Did you wear braces for years only to be told you have to wear a retainer every night for the rest of your life? Or your teeth will relapse? Drop a comment below. That relapse is your body trying to tell you that the equilibrium is wrong. What you are about to learn will explain why your jaw is smaller than your grandfather's, and why the modern diet is literally shrinking our airways and ruining our profiles. The medieval peasant chewing on coarse, stone-ground rye bread didn't need a retainer. His face was built by stress, the good kind of stress. His jaw was a machine designed for heavy lifting, and because he used it, it grew. We have traded that function for smoothies, soft white bread, and cooked-to-death vegetables. We have created a world of pre-digested food, and in doing so, we have signaled to our own genes that a strong jaw is no longer necessary. But the degradation goes deeper than just aesthetics. A small jaw means a small airway. The same retraction that makes teeth crooked pushes the tongue back into the throat. It creates sleep apnea, snoring, and chronic fatigue. We are a society gasping for air through narrow tubes, wondering why we are tired and anxious, while treating the problem with plastic aligners and CPAP machines. The ancient skull isn't just a fossil. It's a blueprint of what you were supposed to look like. The wide cheekbones, the forward-grown maxilla, the breathing room, that is your birthright. And it has been stolen by modern industrial living. In the next section, we're going to look at the mechanics of this theft. We'll look at the hidden gem in your mouth that you stopped using, and the specific physics of chewing that turns a child's soft cartilage into the granite-hard jawline of a warrior. It's not about genetics, it's about mechanics. Understand why your jaw is shrinking. You have to understand a fundamental law of biology that modern medicine often ignores, Wolff's Law. Julius Wolff was a 19th century German anatomist who discovered something profound about human bones. He realized that bone is not dead scaffolding like the steel beams in a skyscraper. Bone is living tissue that reacts to stress. If you put a bone under heavy load, it gets denser and thicker. If you remove the load, the bone dissolves. Astronauts in zero gravity lose bone mass not because they are sick, but because they aren't fighting gravity. Their bodies realize the skeleton is expensive to maintain, so they scrap it. Your jaw is no different. It is a system of levers and pulleys designed for massive force. The masseter muscle, that thick band of muscle on the side of your cheek, is pound for pound the strongest muscle in the human body. It is designed to crush roots, tear through tough muscle fibers, and grind grains that are harder than wood. When a medieval child chewed on stale, stone-ground bread or dried meat, they were generating hundreds of pounds of pressure per square inch. This pressure wasn't just grinding food, it was signaling the body to build. Every time that medieval child clamped down, the force transferred through the teeth and into the maxilla, the upper jawbone. This is the critical piece of the puzzle. The maxilla is the keystone of the face. It holds your eye sockets, your nasal passages, and your upper teeth. But here is the secret. The maxilla is not fused solid in childhood. It is connected by sutures, tiny flexible joints that allow for expansion. When you chew hard, tough food, the mechanical stress pushes the maxilla outward and forward. It triggers the sutures to widen. It tells the body, we need a bigger foundation to handle this machine. The result is horizontal growth. The face grows wide. The dental arch expands like a broad horseshoe, creating ample room for every single tooth. The cheekbones push forward, opening the airway behind them. This is why ancient skulls look so robust. They were sculpted by the gym of everyday eating. Now look at the modern child. From the moment they start solids, they are fed mush. Pureed peas, soft-boiled carrots, pouches of applesauce that they suck rather than chew. As they grow, they graduate to kid food, chicken nuggets, crustless white bread, macaroni, and cheese. These are foods that require zero structural effort to consume. They dissolve in the mouth. The masseter muscle never wakes up. The maxilla never receives the signal to expand. Without that stress, the face doesn't grow horizontally, it grows vertically. Gravity takes over. The maxilla drops down and back. The face becomes long and narrow. This is what orthodontists call craniofacial dystrophy, or long face syndrome. The chin recedes because the lower jaw is trapped behind a recessed upper jaw. The dental arch collapses inward because there is no outward pressure to hold it open. The teeth, having nowhere to go, twist and crowd together. But it's not just chewing, it's resting posture. Medieval people didn't just use their jaws differently, they held them differently. Because their airways were wide, they breathed through their noses. When you breathe through your nose, your mouth is closed and your tongue naturally rests on the roof of your mouth. This is nature's retainer. The tongue is a powerful muscle that acts as a living scaffold, pushing up and out against the palate 24 hours a day. It counteracts the inward pressure of the cheeks. Today, because of allergies, dust mites, and inflamed tonsils from inflammatory diets, modern children become mouth breathers. Their mouths hang open. The tongue drops to the floor of the mouth. The scaffolding is removed. Without the tongue supporting the palate, the upper jaw narrows. The roof of the mouth shoots upward, encroaching on the nasal cavity, making it even harder to breathe through the nose. It is a vicious feedback loop. The less you breathe through your nose, the smaller your airway gets, and the more you have to breathe through your mouth. We have created an environment that engineers weak faces. We treat the jaw like it's a static object that just happens to us based on DNA. But the medieval skull proves that the jaw is dynamic. It is a use it or lose it system. And for the last 3 generations, we have chosen to lose it. In the next section, we are going to look at the chemistry behind this failure. It's not just that we stopped chewing, it's that we removed the specific nutrients required to build bone density. We're going to talk about the activator X that Dr. Price discovered, and why even if you chewed a tire all day, your jaw might still fail if you're eating the standard American diet. You can have the best blueprint in the world, and you can hire the hardest working construction crew, but if you don't supply the bricks, the wall will never get built. Chewing provides the mechanical signal, the blueprint that tells the jaw to grow, but the modern diet has completely cut off the supply of construction materials. We are currently living through a paradox. We are the most calorie-rich civilization in history, yet our skeletons are starving. When Dr. Weston A. Price analyzed the diets of those indigenous tribes with perfect teeth, He found a nutritional gap so massive it explains why modern jaws are collapsing. He discovered that the diets of people with broad, healthy faces contained 4 times the minerals and 10 times the fat-soluble vitamins of the average American diet. 10 times. Think about that. To get the same skeletal-building nutrients that a primitive villager got from one meal, you would have to eat 10 modern meals. The specific nutrients we are missing are the fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, and a mysterious compound, price called Activator X. Today we know Activator X as vitamin K2. This is the lost key to human facial development. Here is the science the food industry glosses over. Calcium does not know where to go on its own. You can drink gallons of milk and take handfuls of calcium supplements, but without vitamin K2, that calcium will not build a strong jawline. Instead, it will deposit in your soft tissues, calcifying your arteries, forming kidney stones, and creating tartar on your teeth. Vitamin K2 is the traffic cop. It activates a protein called osteocalcin, which grabs calcium from the blood and cements it into the bone matrix. Medieval peasants didn't know what a vitamin was, but they consumed Activator X in abundance. How? Because they ate the fat of animals that ate green grass. In the Middle Ages, cows grazed on rapidly growing spring grass. This grass is rich in vitamin K1. The cow's digestive systems converted K1 into K2, which concentrated in the butter fat of their milk. When a medieval child drank raw, whole milk or ate yellow butter from a pasture-raised cow, they were flooding their bodies with the specific chemical signal required to build wide, dense facial tones. What happened to this supply chain? We destroyed it with 2 modern inventions, the feedlot and the low-fat diet. Today, cows are taken off pasture and fed corn and soy. A cow-fed grain does not produce significant vitamin K2. The milk becomes chemically empty. Then, to make matters worse, we take that inferior milk and skim off the fat, the only place where vitamins A, D, and K2 exist. We threw away the architects of our skeleton because we were told that fat causes heart disease, a theory that has been debunked but still rules the grocery aisle. We replaced nutrient-dense animal fats like lard, tallow, and butter with industrial seed oils, soybean, corn, and canola oil. These oils are inflammatory and completely devoid of skeletal-building vitamins. We swapped the building blocks of bone for cheap, shelf-stable lubricants. The result is a generation of children with soft bones. Their jaws don't just fail to grow because of lack of chewing. They fail because the bone itself is weak. It is hypomineralized. The maxilla drifts downward because it lacks the structural integrity to hold its form against gravity. We have starved our faces. We traded the nutrient-dense organ meats, raw dairy, and animal fats of our ancestors for a diet of fortified flour and vegetable oil. The label on your cereal box says 100% of your daily calcium, but your body can't use it. Without the ancient synergy of fat-soluble vitamins, that calcium is just dust in the wind. In the next section, we are going to look at the consequences of this failure beyond the jaw. This isn't just about looking good in a photo. A collapsed face means a collapsed airway. We're going to explore how the shrinking modern jaw is directly linked to the explosion of sleep disorders, anxiety, and even ADHD in children. If crooked teeth were the only consequence of our shrinking skulls, this would just be a cosmetic issue. We could simply pay the orthodontist, straighten the smile, and move on. But the collapse of the human face is doing something far more dangerous than ruining our wedding photos. It is slowly strangling us. To understand why, you have to look at the anatomy of the skull. The roof of your mouth, the palate, is also the floor of your nasal cavity. They are the same bone. When your jaw fails to grow wide and forward, your palate becomes high and narrow. That means your nasal floor rises, compressing the nasal airway. At the same time, because the lower jaw is recessed, the tongue has nowhere to sit. It gets forced backward, into the back of the throat. The result? You are trying to breathe through a straw that is being pinched from both sides. This structural failure is the root cause of the modern epidemic of sleep apnea. We think of sleep apnea as a disease of obese, middle-aged men, but today, pediatricians are seeing it in thin, healthy-looking 6-year-olds. These children aren't overweight. They are underdeveloped. Their airways are so small that when they lie down to sleep and their muscles relax, their throat collapses. They stop breathing dozens of times a night. Their brain panics, spikes adrenaline, and wakes them up just enough to take a breath. They are sleeping, but they are not resting. They are surviving. This chronic oxygen deprivation is destroying our mental health. When a child sleeps poorly, they don't look tired, they look hyperactive. Their body pumps out cortisol and adrenaline to keep them awake. They can't focus, they fidget, they have emotional outbursts. What does the modern medical system do? It diagnoses them with ADHD and puts them on stimulants. We are drugging children for having small jaws. Research suggests that a significant percentage of ADHD diagnoses are actually misdiagnosed sleep-disordered breathing. We are treating a hardware problem, a collapsed airway, with software patches, pharmaceuticals. And it's not just children. The modern epidemic of anxiety and chronic fatigue in adults is directly linked to how we breathe. When you have a narrow airway, your body is in a constant state of low-grade respiratory stress. You are chronically hyperventilating. You mouth breathe to compensate, which expels too much carbon dioxide and keeps your nervous system in a sympathetic fight-or-flight state. Ancient humans didn't live like this. The skulls found in those medieval graveyards show wide, unobstructed nasal apertures. Their airways were massive. They slept deeply. They woke up rested. They didn't need 3 coffees to function because they weren't suffocating in their sleep. The physical toll of the modern face is catastrophic. We have normalized mouth breathing, which bypasses the nose's filtration system, leading to chronic sinus infections, swollen tonsils, and more inflammation, which further blocks the nose. It is a biological death spiral. The more you mouth breathe, the more your face lengthens and narrows. The more it narrows, the harder it is to nose breathe. We have created a society that is literally gasping for air. We rely on CPAP machines to force air into our lungs at night, because our own skeletons can no longer keep the door open. This is not aging. This is structural failure caused by an industrial environment that ignored the laws of human biology. But here is the good news. Unlike a crumbling building, the human body is alive. It is responsive. Even in adulthood, the bones of the face can change. The biological potential for a strong jaw and an open airway is still inside you, dormant, waiting for the right signal. In the final section, we are going to talk about how to turn that signal back on. We will look at the protocols, dietary, mechanical, and postural, that can halt the collapse and, in many cases, reverse it. You don't need a time machine to get a medieval skull. You just need to start treating your face like the machine it was designed to be. So, here is the crossroads. You can accept the modern narrative that you are genetically defective, that your jaw is destined to shrink, and that you will spend your life dependent on retainers, CPAP machines, and soft foods. Or, you can look at the evidence from our ancestors and realize that your body is waiting for a signal it hasn't received in decades. The medieval peasant didn't have a gym membership for his face, but he lived a life that built one automatically. You can't go back to 1300 AD, but you can hack your modern life to mimic those ancestral inputs. First, you must fix the chemistry. You need to stop eating dead industrial fats and start eating living, skeletal-building nutrients. The most critical step is reintroducing vitamin K2, the activator X that Dr. Price found in every healthy traditional culture. This means rejecting the fear of animal fats. Eat grass-fed butter that is deep yellow, not the white wax they sell as spread. Eat hard, aged cheeses like Gouda and Brie. If you can stomach it, eat organ meats like liver, or take desiccated organ supplements if you can't. These are not superfoods. They are human foods. They are the raw materials your bones are screaming for. Second, you have to wake up the machine. Your masseter muscles have atrophied from a lifetime of smoothies and soft bread. You need to introduce mechanical stress. Stop cutting your food into tiny pieces. Eat steak that requires effort. Eat raw carrots instead of boiled ones. But for most of us, diet alone isn't enough because we don't eat all day long like our ancestors did. The cheat code here is mastic gum. This is a tree resin from Greece that is 10 times harder than regular chewing gum. Chewing this for 20 minutes a day provides the heavy resistance training your jaw needs to stimulate bone density and encourage the maxilla to hold its ground. Third, and most importantly, you must relearn how to breathe. This is the hardest part because it requires constant vigilance. You must consciously seal your lips. You must force yourself to breathe through your nose, even during exercise, even when it feels difficult. And you must learn the resting posture of the tongue. The tip of your tongue should not be pushing against your front teeth, and it certainly shouldn't be on the floor of your mouth. It should be pressed flat against the roof of your mouth, right behind the front teeth. This is what modern orthodontists call myofunctional therapy, but our ancestors just called it living. By keeping your tongue on the roof of your mouth, you are essentially wearing a natural retainer that exerts outward pressure 24/7, counteracting the collapse of the dental arch. If you have children, this is the most important gift you can give them, more valuable than a college fund. Watch them sleep. If their mouth is open, gently close it. Feed them food that challenges them. Don't let them become mouth breathers. You have a brief window in childhood where the face is essentially wet clay. You can sculpt a strong, healthy airway, or you can let gravity pull it into a suffocating collapse. Medieval skull is a reminder of what we lost, but also of what is possible. Those strong jaws and straight teeth weren't a genetic accident. They were the result of a life lived in harmony with biological laws. We broke those laws for the sake of convenience, profit, and softer living. But the beautiful thing about the human body is that it is forgiving. It is always trying to heal. It is always trying to return to the blueprint. It just needs you to stop sabotaging it. The industry wants you weak, soft, and dependent on their appliances. The history books show you were designed to be strong, robust, and self-sufficient. The choice is yours. Close your mouth, chew your food, and reclaim the face you were meant to have. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button. We are digging up the forgotten wisdom that the modern world threw away, one bone at a time.